Welcome everybody, Christina Wolf here, and it is the return of my weekly card pull party. I'm so excited to be here, and I hope you guys can join me. I'm going to invite a few people, see if you want to hop on. And I'll just give it a few seconds to see if anybody will be here before I get started. Hope y'all can make it. Welcome if you're just coming on, say hi. Go. All right. Hello, Karen. Yay. I'm happy to be here. And the very first one, we've got the card pull party since I think it was June. Good morning, Chris. Hello. Welcome. All right. So I had like a ton of downloads from Spirit like right before this. So I feel like a little bit of a mad scientist. But first, I wanted to basically, let me get something here I wanted to show you guys. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do something. Hello, Bethany. Happy you're here. Glad I'm back too. I've been if you haven't noticed, you probably heard more from me in the last week than you did all summer. It feels like, okay, it's definitely the planetary alignment. Mars went direct. Was it August 27th? I'm going to be talking a little bit or a lot about Saturn going direct at the end of the week and how this will affect you and your structures and boundaries. And okay, so little drink of water here. Hey, Stephanie, welcome. Glad you're here. And the other thing I'm going to add, I'm going to be offering for the individual card pulls. Of course, I'm going to do my group reading with my Faithful Herbal Tarot, and the individual card pulls will be with my medicine cards, the animal cards. But if some of y'all recall, I got this brand new Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, and I think they're excellent. They give a lot of information on the single card pulls. So if you would like a card reading for me to pull a card for you, just make your request in the comments section and let me know which deck you prefer. In the meantime, I'm going to talk a little bit. I wrote a ton of notes here about what's coming up. First and foremost, for me, Saturn has a profound effect on me. And so being retrograde since I think it was April, I'm not sure about the exact dates, but it goes direct September 6th, which is, I think, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. So what does that mean for you? Well, Mars went direct on the 27th, and Saturn and Mars are both used to be rulers of Capricorn. Mars was the old ruler before Saturn came along, and so they were both in Capricorn and feeling quite content there. But when they're put together, it's kind of like Mars is that, forceful, let's go to war, penetrating energy. And Saturn is all about, no, you can't do that. That's, against the law. There's structures, there's discipline. And one of and boundaries, that's going to be a big thing I want to talk about, boundaries. Boundaries for your life, boundaries for, what's good and right for you, your time. So Saturn is all about time, structure, foundational things such as law, government. And I'm really attributing it to how you govern yourself, frankly. And for me, how this manifests is when I talk about creating sacred daily practices, this last week of being retrograde, it's going to ask you to create some structures that when Saturn goes direct on the 6th, if you don't have them in place, your plan's probably not going to work out very well. Here's a perfect example. These sacred daily practices that I talk about. If my plan is to increase my spirituality or relationship with self and connection to spirit, then I'm going to have some daily structure around how I do that. And so some of the ways that I do that are to smudge and to create sacred space by calling in the 4 directions. And then other ways are, daily journeying, those sort of things. And so you design your life so that it can actually fulfill the things that you want to accomplish. And so when I say design your life, it's like put these sacred daily practices in place so that you can actually be doing the thing that you want to be doing. We live in a very distracted culture. And so let me give you an example of this. If your current life isn't allowing you to do the things that you want to do, this is the perfect time to set up a new structure for your life. So you're going to have to make some adjustments. A perfect example for me was I wanted to do intermittent fasting, and I've been interested in it for like 5 or 6 years now. But when I first started doing it, I was working as a supervisor in the jail doing shift work, and it was very stressful, and it wasn't conducive to being able to fast properly, because one of the things when you're fasting, you need to have a pretty relaxed kind of day because you're cleansing your body. Well, anyway, so now I'm doing intermittent fasting, which is like fasting daily, like 16 hours a day, and you only eat during a certain window. So this is just an example, guys. You don't have to follow this directly, but it wouldn't have worked for me if I was doing shift work, because it was a crazy time frame of the day. Your body and your hormones are all off. It wasn't conducive to schedule that I had, wasn't conducive to the lifestyle I wanted to lead. And so if you find that I want to work out, I want to be able to go to Christina's weekly carpool parties, but Sundays I work, or I've obligated myself to babysit someone's kids, blah blah blah. If you're doing something that's not helping you meet your goals, you get to rearrange your time and your energy and the boundaries that you set. So what did I do? I left the jail. I made a big, and it's going to take some difficult, and when I say jail, where I worked, I literally worked in the jail. And, but I had to make some huge shifts. I had to shift around my lifestyle. I had to shift around my job duties. I ended up going to patrol for a while. In that, working on third shift, that was even less conducive to fasting and relaxing and having the spaciousness that I was looking for in my life. So if you're really like on the hamster wheel and overwhelmed and whatever, look at your daily life and how you've designed it. And you may feel like, oh, I'm obligated because I need money and this is the only job that's available. You get to decide that there will be the right things available for you to manifest what you want in your life. So eventually I was able to get a Monday through Friday job that allows me the weekends to do these things with you guys. This is the stuff that Saturn is talking about, your daily structure, like the things that you can manifest in your mind all you want, this airy-fairy plan. But if you don't have like reality, 3D world sets in, those structures that you put into place are the things that are going to get you the life that you want. This is the time to do it. So it sounds kind of daunting, but this is stuff you should be thinking about on the regular. And if you don't put these structures in place, so when like Saturn goes direct in about a week, you're going to feel really like frustrated and willy-nilly and like things aren't, going the way you want. And so that's where it comes in. Okay, so be cognizant of how you're designing your life. That's coming up this week. And one little aside, these if you don't, for example, if you live in like an apartment building and like somebody might not appreciate you burning sage there because it does have a distinct smell, you can use this. I ended up getting this from a mentor of mine. They're basically essential oil smudges. Instead of burning the actual herb, they still have the essence of it. And you know, these are ways you can get around you know, obstacles in your life. Okay, so I'm considering making some essential oil smudge sprays too. This is my first year trying to do my own products. I've been using other people's, but I like the idea that I take that product or that essence and put my own energy into it. It's similar to wanting to make your own drum or your own rattle. It's like those are your spiritual tools. And so that's kind of why, I don't know if you guys saw my live yesterday about how to build make a little sachet. It's best to infuse your own energy into something, but you know, of course, these are things that I'm learning to make. And so if you don't feel that you're quite ready to do that, then of course you get them from these tools from people that you know, like, and trust. And so the only reason I brought up the smudge sprays is it's an alternative to, like, if you say, well, I can't open sacred space and I can't smudge, I live in this little dinky apartment and people will call the fire department on me or something. There's an alternative. This is a way you can start to add this aspect into your life, add this structure into your life. Okay, so then I wrote a bunch of notes here because like it was just downloading for me. You get to decide how you spend your time, okay? This was a really subtle yet profound aspect that I had to come to terms with. It took me years. Okay, I'm understanding now that because I have Saturn as a Capricorn as a rising sign, my lessons, I'm a slow learner. It does, you know, I can't take like a 6-week course and then suddenly I'm a manifesting genius. For me, it takes me time to implement, time to let things soak in and actually shift, kind of like a slow moving glacier. The effects are profound, but it takes a long time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because to me, I think those slower moving aspects of soaking in knowledge and wisdom, it's like more permanent. And this is all aspects of Saturn, by the way. What I wrote was, like, for example, I was like chronically late to everything, but I had to become very good at being the director of where my energy was going. So if you're chronically late, I associated that with being in the trauma response. As a child, I learned to dissociate quite a bit, go live in fantasy land, go live in, you know, make-believe land, because either I was bored, I was alone, you know, people were around me were like maybe arguing or bickering, and I would tap out as a little child and I would go, you know, my aunt said that I got the nickname airplane face because whenever people would get like argue around me or cause drama or conflict, I would get upset and I would go out of the room as a little 6-year-old. And I remember going to that place quite frequently. If I was at school, if you have children who are, I think, misdiagnosed with ADHD, I have 2 sons who have that, and my youngest son also is manifesting some of that inattentiveness. But it's our relationship to time and being here in the present, and that's also a very Saturnine quality. Where's your spirit at? Like, call your spirit back and then get here in the present and give yourself the gift of time. So you're not rushing around. You're not recreating that state of stress. You're not, you give yourself the gift of spaciousness. When you realize you are the master of your own life, you get to do that. If it's been a long-standing habit to be like, you know, chronically late or whatnot, these are pieces of your life that Saturn's asking you to look at. How do you want to structure your life? Okay, so the other thing is, a good example. How are you structuring your time in a way that works for you? the time change that I did for this card reading, that's a perfect example. Originally I had them at 5 p.m. on Sundays. Well, Sunday is kind of my time to wind down, right? So in that time of day is when I usually go do stuff with family. And so 12 p.m. works a whole lot better for me. And so I made that choice. And so a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to make a decision because it's going to affect lots of other people. Well, if you don't do what's right for you, people don't actually know what you need and require. And this is where the boundary piece comes in, okay? So you got to communicate those boundaries. A good aspect of communication, another aspect coming up this week, Mercury has its influence over Virgo, and it's going to be Monday, Tuesday is a really good time to communicate with others. Maybe say, hey, you know, I know we made this arrangement, like I agreed to like take your kid to school with my kid in the morning, but that's just not working for me anymore because I'm finding I'm really, really stressed out. Like these are the sort of choices, it's a good time to set up your life for peace and quiet and tranquility. And don't be afraid to say no to others. Don't be afraid to state what your requirements are. Yes, so I would say Monday, Tuesday is like conducive to really communicating in an eloquent way those things that you need from other people. And you just, even if you have to say, this is what I need right now, and maybe have a good conversation with people closest to you about, you know, I don't really like when blah, 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 or I really believe that right now I need blah, 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 examples. So also be mindful of people who want you to do emotional work for them. What do I mean by this? Anybody who knows anything about psychobabble terms like triangulation and enmeshment, these are folks who want you to get involved in all their drama, and you don't even need to be emotionally available for it. This is really important about boundaries this next week, because if you're chronically enmeshed with other people's stuff that they need to do the work for, you're going to feel resentful. But you get to say, wow, what are you planning to do about it? When they start asking you to get in the middle and get all stressed out just like they are with all their drama and nonsense, you don't necessarily have to be involved in their stuff. You can be a friend to them, you can witness them in their process and support them in what they're doing, but you don't have to take on their stuff. And the other thing is, I don't know if I'm conveying that as succinctly as I'd like to. Another example of doing emotional work for somebody, ladies, we do this a lot with guys. This is a very like cut and dried generalization, but when I was married to my ex and he was very much not motivated to help me with housework, I would get really, really upset and like nag. No, this sort of interaction, you're nagging, he knows what you asked him to do, you know, but all you have to do is say, this is what I need from you one time. And then if they choose not to do it, then you make your decisions based off of what their actions are. But you don't then go, I asked you to help me with this, and then you go do it for them. Does that make sense? Over-functioning. These are energetic boundaries. What else? Oh, my phone is doing kind of crapping out. Oh, another thing that may show up for you. Things that mark time for you. This week, my watch died, okay? These are little foilings of Father Time, Kronos, who are also ruled by Saturn. They're aspects of Saturn. So I wrote a whole bunch of notes here. I'm almost finished, and then I'll get to the card reading. So the other thing is be mindful of where you're maybe inserting yourself in other people's lives and expecting them to do work for you, okay? If you're inserting yourself in other people's lives and expecting them to do work for you, then you're going to feel resentful. But you don't then go, I asked you to help me with this, and then you go do it for them. Does that make sense? Over-functioning. These are energetic boundaries. Things that mark time for you. Things that there's really this amazing saying of, this is where I end and you begin. Many people who've had history of relational trauma or attachment disorders, this inability to correctly, I hate that word correctly, but like adequately form a sense of self gives you problems with creating boundaries with others. This is why maybe perfect example. The other night, my partner, he's also a deputy sheriff, he had to intervene. He made an arrest on a guy who wound up having a warrant for aggravated sexual assault of a child. But he found this man because he was at a gas station bothering people trying to get a ride. And this very nice lady with her 2 little kids in the car was perfectly willing to give this nice man a ride. And there's this warning bell thing going off in your head. I'm thinking to myself, good boundaries mean there's no way I'm going to give a person who doesn't feel safe to me a ride. These are, and then here's another example. How do you feel about something? How do you feel about how the energy you get off of somebody else? If you go in a room and you're talking to somebody and they don't feel right to you, you don't have to stay. You don't have to be nice to them. You don't even have to explain why you don't like them. You can just exit or move along. These are respectful boundaries. One thing that's coming up, Saturn appreciates strong boundaries because it gives structure, and Mars respects boundaries, okay? Think of Mars like Mr. Alpha Male. Think of all those Spartan warriors in 300. If you say no, they're going to respect that way more and not approach you as somebody that they can get something they want from. This Mars energy, right? Think about, I'm going into a lot of my police training here. Be a hard target, you know? This is not so much to add negativity or fear or anything like that, but think about it. If someone knows that they can't take advantage of you, they're not likely going to try. And so that's what I mean by Mars respects boundaries. They know that you're not somebody who, they're not even going to bother to ask you to take, you know, their kids to school because they know that's ridiculous and you have your own responsibility, whatever. That's just an example. So wishy-washy boundaries will lead to resentment, will lead to people feeling like you're unreliable or whatever. Even though it was really kind of their story to begin with, you know, let's say you did agree to take somebody's kids to school and they're really looking forward to having you do that for them, but it wasn't working for you. If you just said at the beginning, you know, I'd love to, but I really can't this year. You know, my schedule changed, whatever, just be clear. You could even leave the sentence at, no, that's not going to work for me. But, and if you want to be a good friend, you can help them find alternatives. But this is what I'm saying. Don't agree to do something you don't want to do or isn't working for you. And then you'll have a bigger mess to clean up at the end. Of chaos, anger, resentment, that sort of thing. This is all for this week. Isn't this a lot? This is a lot of energy, right? Saturn is one of those slow-moving planets, and it has a profound effect on your daily life. If your structure is off for the day, think about teachers who run classrooms. If you get behind on one lesson, like the whole day is just like, we call it, when I'm in court, if we have a case that's not going as planned, we say we're having a magical day. So if you don't have these structures in place, it can lead to magical aggravation for you. The other thing, if you don't have the right structures in place, any attempt to take action with this Mars energy being direct, it's going to be aggravating. You're going to get, you know, things aren't going to go as planned. So Saturn's really more about the planning and boundaries and the structure of things. It may, especially with like this Virgo energy of perfectionism, you know, like I have a birthday party for my son coming up, and if I don't adequately plan for that in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to end up very frustrated if I try to do it at the last minute. And one more thing, and then I'm going to get to the card reading. Timing, which is ruled by Saturn, is very important. listen to your cues. If you're starting to do something and it's getting aggravated, like the plan's just not working out, this is a really good time to pull back and reassess your plan, and then trust that there's a better time to come back and start again. Okay, so also that's a perfect time to really reassess what you require and then create a plan that will let that take place. You know, ask yourself, what is this situation working for me? So all that aside, let me see if I missed anything else, and then we'll get started on the card. If anybody wants a card, go ahead and put a comment in the section, the comment section here about which card you want, whether it's the herbal card or the animal medicine cards or the sacred shaman or the mystical shaman oracle cards. These ones, the new ones. Okay. All right. I think I covered all that about what's coming up for us in the next week. It's quite a bit, but at the same time, kind of do the work and you'll save yourself a whole lot of headache later on. Okay, so I'm going to check the comments here. And all right. So I see some people added in some stuff, and I'm going to write it down what y'all wanted. Karen wanted an oracle card. Okay. So Chris, you want an animal card or would you want an oracle card? Let me know. Okay, Rusty wants an animal card. Perfect. Animal. I'll put you down for animal, and then maybe next week after you see some of the other oracle cards, Chris, you can pick an oracle card. How's that sound? All right. And Kimberly would like an oracle card. Yeah, I'm really loving these oracle cards. By the way, I don't know if any of you guys saw my other live. I was talking about this. They're done by Colette Baron-Reid and the two lovely founders of the Four Winds Society, Alberto Villoldo and his wife, Marcela Lobos. Beautiful energy. But Colette has, I'm super excited. She's got another deck coming out called Animal Spirit, and I'll be getting them in October. So super excited to be working with lots of new energy. So Kimberly would like an oracle card. And let's see. Hi, Charlotte. Oh my gosh, like so many comments hadn't popped up. Yes, essential oils are, I'm really looking forward to doing some essential oil gifts and other things I can, you know, make, like tools you can use. So just stay tuned for all that. Lots coming up. Let's see. Candles. Candle making is excellent. Bath salts, herbal baths, those sort of things. I'm just checking all the okay, so I see now, Chris, you want an oracle card. Okay, got it. I'm just checking all your messages. And for some reason, they're not scrolling for me. Got it. Okay. And Bethany would like an oracle card. Yes. All right. Hi, Penny. So happy to see you. Yes, I'll do you oracle card. Oh, I'm so excited, Penny, you're here. Yay. Awesome. Okay. So thanks for sitting through my lovely energy update, because I feel like Spirit just had a lot to say this week. And okay, so let's start with opening up sacred space. Now, if you guys haven't noticed, those of you who are joining me for the first time in a while, I have changed I rearranged my office, and now I am facing north, okay? Before I was facing west, and for some reason this just feels better. And by the way, it's, I don't know if you can see this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are my angel numbers, so apparently we're having a magical moment here. Behind me, this is my new background. I got it from, I think, wish.com. But of course, every time I'm very drawn to the forest, so here we are. This is what I mean by setting up your life to, you know, design your life to reflect the things that are important to you. So we're going to open up some sacred space, and let's start with the east. Now, I've said this before. those of you who have studied shamanism or any other, I guess we call it indigenous practice or religious practice, where we use the medicine wheel or the 4 directions. The Four Winds Society, which follows the Quechua, Q'ero Indians, they start opening sacred space from the south. I learned how to do this from one of my mentors, Olga. She's native, I think, Chiricahua Apache, and they start in the east. That makes sense to me because that's the place of the rising sun. So if you see some differentiation, I think it's always your intention. So I'm going to start in the east, okay? So to the winds of the east, we welcome you in, Brother Eagle, Brother Condor. We welcome, welcome, welcome you, the place of the rising sun, fire energy. This is the springtime of your life. This is the place of the void. The great raven comes from the void with messages. We thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for giving us all of this beautiful energy. Thank you so much. Now to the winds of the south. This is earth energy. This is Brother Snake. We thank you for your lessons and guidance and how to travel humbly to the earth, humble closely to the earth, and for shedding old skin. This is the summer of our lifetime, the high noon of our lifetime. We thank you for your earth energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the winds of the west, water energy, emotions, my beautiful brother Jaguar, we thank you for your integrity and showing us how to harvest the lessons of our rites of passage in life. Thank you for showing us the fall of our lifetime, how to use the lessons that we've learned. And we thank you, thank you, thank you for this beautiful energy. This is a place of the setting sun, the completion of things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then to the winds of the north. This is a place of the spirit of our ancestors, air energy, the winter of our lifetime. The place where we go within and utilize all the wisdom we've gained and return to our ancestors' way of being and their wisdom. This is the spirit of elk, caribou, endurance, animals of endurance that make it all the way through winter, and to the spirit of hummingbird, because they're the lightness of being, the spark of life, the nectar of life. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And to Mother Earth, as always, Pachamama, we love you so much for all you do to host us, to hold us in your arms and your womb, to give us life, to give us the plants, plant medicine, animal medicine, beautiful tree spirits, the 2-legged animals, the 4-legged, the finned, the furred, the winged ones, the creepy crawlies. We thank you for all of the life that you host for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to Father Sky, we thank you so much for being the mystery of the universe and being the creator of all that is. And we acknowledge our Star Nation relatives and friends, those who have come before us and are showing us how to ascend into the 5D world. We thank you so much. And to Grandmother Moon and to Grandfather Sun, we thank you, especially right now when we're talking about time and structure, for showing us the cycles of life and how to appreciate the timing of things. And to our spirit guides, thank you, Archangel Michael, for protecting us, for allowing only the light in. And any ascended masters, Jesus, Mary, Mary Magdalene, thank you. And this is time to call in any spirit guide that you have to help you. So in the meantime, now that we have opened sacred space, let's start the cards. My beautiful herbal deck. Thank you, cards, for all the wisdom you give us. Thank you, Spirit, for coming through the cards. All right. So I'm going to shuffle. And as I'm shuffling, what do we need to know this week, besides all the other wonderful things that came up? All right. I'm going to cut the deck 3 times. All right. So this is the card for Monday, Tuesday, hello, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a card for the overall energy of the week, which I'm pretty sure has something to do with structure and time. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday. Excellent already. Ace of Cups, the lotus flower. Everybody knows lotus grows in patches of mud, and I really take this as like finding the abundance of life no matter, bloom wherever you're planted, okay? So start where you are, essentially. Let's look up lotus here. Ace of Cups. So a chalice of overflowing with divine love offered from the hand of the Great Spirit is greeted by the dove of peace. So this is a great start to, the energy around this week is creating a space of peace for yourself and in abundance. The lotus, symbol of divine love, inner peace, and enlightenment, blooms upon the peaceful sea of the mind. That, I think, is the ultimate goal. Structure your time so that you can have the beautiful peace of the sea of the mind. Listening to and following the heart's wisdom is the focal point of the Ace of Cups. When we listen to our heart's song, we can know our true hopes and desires. Every time I've suffered in my life, it's because I was not following the wisdom of my own heart. You know what you need to do. You know what things you need to let go of. You might be afraid of the choices you have to make, but let me tell you, in the past year, I have foreclosed on a house, I've lost a car, I've moved, I quit a job to start a business, a partnership didn't work out. I came back to that said job because to me it was so easy to return because that's where Spirit really wanted me. And then I was able to move into a beautiful new house. I was able to a lot more peace, and this house and this area where I live is so much more peaceful. Follow your heart, okay? Follow your heart. Just do the thing you need to do that you know you need to do. So the heart is the middle path between our thoughts and our conscious demands. By the way, when you have thyroid problems, your mind is not listening to your heart. This is your will, okay? Any kind of throat chakra problems are you not doing what you know is right for you, okay? And anybody who's been, through any kind of the early childhood trauma stuff, giving up yourself to align with a caregiver or, a situation that does not necessarily serve you, that's been a pattern for you, giving up the self. So call yourself back. You get to decide who's close to you, who cares for you. Okay, so reparent yourself. This is something here, following what your heart knows. It knows without having to figure it all out. And it may not make sense to you. You may be like, I have no idea why I'm being called to go to the woods. I just want to go take walks in the woods now. That may be where you find your peace. That may be, for me, it was this calling to the woods was reminding me of my Celtic heritage. There's tree spirits, and these are just my own examples. You don't have to follow that exactly, but take cues from your heart. You know what you want, and don't let your mind talk you out of it, okay? When we move to the heart's path, we find deeper inner peace and divine grace bestowed upon us, especially in career choices. Devotion, faith, and dedication to Spirit are all manifested in us when the path of love is acknowledged in our lives. The lotus symbolizes purity and peace. It is revered not only for its intrinsic beauty, but for the evocative symbolism of its growth. The lotus grows in shallow ponds and lakes, its roots extending into the mud where, in the darkness and murkiness, it is nurtured by the earth. There may be a lot going on for you under the surface where roots and seeds are taking place in the darkness and the murkiness. Just listen to that and let that guide you as you're structuring your life. Give yourself more time to examine what's going on there. As it reaches for the light above, it emerges and blossoms into a glorious exaltation of life. The lotus helps us to embrace our own true inner self with a loving respect. Greater serenity and peace fills us as we move into lotus flower consciousness. So, from a medicinal point, nearly all the parts of the lotus have a use. I don't personally think we have great access to lotus flower here in the North American continent, but I could be wrong. Someone correct me. The herbal essence may be taken throughout the day, 3 drops at a time, to foster love for others and the divine. Again, I really believe you can write down the lotus, the word lotus on a little piece of paper, put it in your medicine pouch, keep it close to you. Just the intention or the essence of the lotus will work for you. The keywords are following the heart, faith and hope that the light will be revealed, need to calm the thoughts, feeling one's deep connections to Mother Earth and Father Sky, devotion, visions of aspiration. So this might sound like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. Or, you know, how do I do that? I feel so disconnected. It takes time. It takes time when as you put these practices into place. If you told me maybe like a year or 2 ago, like I would be doing card readings and opening sacred space. These are things that have become kind of, I don't want to call it second nature, but like doesn't require as much energy because I have created daily practices for them. This is what they're talking about. So when you're connecting to Mother Earth and Father Sky, put structures in place that allow you to do that. Like go outside every morning and put your feet on the ground, or, you know, do it every night and say thank you to Mother Earth. It takes 5 minutes. So with pure devotion, I open myself to the wisdom of my heart. So that's Monday, Tuesday. That's quite auspicious. All right. Wednesday, Thursday, temperance, echinacea, or however you want to pronounce it. I like to say echinacea. All right. Anybody who knows echinacea is good for preventing colds, not necessarily getting rid of them once you have them. Temperance. Temperance is all about showing discipline and very Saturnine things, right? So let's look up temperance. And this is a major arcana card, so it has to do with a deep pattern that you're creating for yourself. Okay. You know, maybe it's time to, like when you go to the grocery store, not maybe buy all 4 shampoos you want and just buy 1. You know, little things like that. Temperance. Temperance, ruled by Sagittarius, is an idealistic and adventurous person. Her blue garment is the yin, watery, intuitive self, and the red belt is the yang, fire element of action. So the rising sun shows that a new life is unfolding. Hey, you're structuring a new life for yourself. Its golden color represents divine light and the fire within that lets one dare to honor inner values. This is, I can't convey this, honor inner values. This is your boundaries. Boundaries sound like such a kind of like sort of thing, like kind of necessary, you know, like going to the dentist, but it helps you, right? You know, honoring your inner values. When you don't honor your inner values, the cost to you is far greater. The cleanup is far greater than when you just honor those values right away. Okay, this takes time and trust and a surrender to, you know, divine wisdom. The solar emblem on her brow is the 6th chakra opening. She is receptive to the guidance given to her by those beings who are forever vigilant to the needs of the aspirant. After coming through death, which is the card right before this, she is ready to experiment with her new life and is working on balancing the polarities within. Through trial and error and intuition and logic, she will transform energy into artistry. She is a union of the male, female, water, fire. In her dealing with the public, she's learning how to temper herself through cooperation, compatibility, and communication. She's learning to manage her resources, to organize and plan. She's aware of what needs healing and is bringing more balance to those areas. This sounds to me like pay attention how you're structuring your life. I don't know how else we could say it, but like when you're structuring your life, let's look at all of these qualities of, you know, managing your resources, your time, your energy, your money, organizing and planning, you know. Well, maybe I'm spending too much money on this and it's not allowing me to have money for that 10-year plan of mine of, you know, owning a retreat out in the woods. So these are the things that it's asking you to look up or to be aware of. Also, on a spiritual level, echinacea assists in adjusting to changes and in harmonizing polarities. If you're too much in the doing process, the masculine doing, and not a lot of the feminine allowing and receiving and giving time for, you know, to empty out space so that you can allow in, make room for the things that you want, echinacea can help you with this. Again, if you don't have it, you can write the word down and put it in your pocket. It's the intention, it's the essence of it, of echinacea. You can say, echinacea, I call upon your temporal energy to help me balance out the harmony of doing and being. You know, use your own words, but set your intentions. So echinacea has been used to clear infections and poisons from the body. It bolsters the surface immune system. Okay? Not like deep ones, like the outer boundaries, basically. How about that? Also, it says it can give a peculiar tingling sensation on the tongue. Yes, anybody who's drank echinacea tea, it's got kind of like almost when you eat licorice, it's the same sensation. Keywords are idealism, enthusiasm for new beginnings, blending of opposites, experimentation and verification, inner guide, managing resources internally and externally. This managing of resources is a very Saturnine thing to do. Through artistry and daring, I create new visions for myself. So another thing I'm thinking is Saturn is, they call it a maleficent or malefic, I think. Used to have a kind of a negative connotation, like think of Maleficent, the evil witch in I think Sleeping Beauty. But what it's basically meaning is the opposite of, say, Jupiter, which is like an expanding and abundant sort of feeling. Saturn is something that sort of contains and contracts. And so this is asking you to contain and contract the things that you know, get rid of distractions. This adds structure to your life, and it's not necessarily limiting, but when you make a distinct choice of what you want, you're going to say no to all these other things out there that just add to distraction. So it's not a bad thing to limit sometimes. Think about kids. It's time to limit your time on the Xbox. That's a good thing. So limitation doesn't necessarily correlate with lack, okay? So it's, in a way, it can increase your abundance later on. Okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, we're getting some like good cards here. Strength. We haven't had strength in a while. Cayenne. Cayenne, anybody knows Cayenne? Cayenne has, believe it or not, even though it's a warming up carminative quality to it, people who have like stomach ulcers, they tell them to take cayenne pepper because it increases the mucus in their stomach and it soothes them. It creates a barrier of soothing between an irritant and healing. It sort of inspires healing. Okay, so strength. Let's look that up. This is for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this is right when Saturn has gone direct. So you might need a little bit of strength to let everything kind of, you let the horses out of the chute, you know, put your plan into action. You're going to need a little bit of strength or a little buffering. I think that's what cayenne does. It buffers your stomach lining. By using the strength of love, the woman is able to push through or push over the blockages and resistance she encounters within herself and in her life. Leo, the ruler of this card, is a sign of fiery self-expression. This may also afford you the ability to speak your mind. to say, hey, this isn't working for me, and stop doing that to others, okay? Setting boundaries. The woman wears a red cape symbolizing this energy, and the purple dress represents her inner wisdom, which guides her to use her strength in a wise way, okay? When setting boundaries, you want to be clear, distinct, and don't talk too much about it. Just say what you need to say and in a wise way. From the Chariot, she has learned how to be clear as to what her true desires are. So you already know what you really want. You already know what your boundaries are. You're saying, this is where I end, this is where you begin. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, right? So you're clear about that and your true desires, and you can now direct and control them as opposed to them controlling you. All about what we're talking about this week. Being the master of your own life and your time and energy and where your attention goes. You get to decide, and you get to decide who comes into and out of your life. You don't have to put up with other people's crap, basically, okay? So she knows that she cannot employ opposing brute forces to manifest her goals, for this will only bring back to her the same resisting energy. So you're just doing you. You're not like telling everybody, get away from me, F off. You're just doing you, okay? Going about your own business, as my mom would tell me. Just go about your own business, okay? Don't worry about anybody else. Her internal fires and the healing heart energy are her tools. With the help of the infinite, as symbolized by her figure-8 hat, she knows the path she must take to manifest clearly her creative images. Okay, so cayenne is stimulating, warming herb that aids digestion and is primarily useful for all circulatory problems, heart pains, cold extremities, excess mucus, varicose veins, and hemorrhaging. Yay! That's pretty much a sense of letting all your energy kind of like flow out of you instead of, again, that contracting energy of, no, now I'm going to reserve it, I'm going to preserve myself, and I'm going to stop the hemorrhaging of my energy elsewhere. This is giving you assistance. So, you know, call in some cayenne pepper to help you with stop the hemorrhaging of where your energy is going, okay? It serves as a natural stimulant to help overcome tiredness and fatigue and to raise vitality. It's excellent to use for arthritic and rheumatic problems. So, okay, here's the irony. Cayenne, which is also a pepper, capsicum, it's a natural inflammation-inducing effect. When we use pepper spray on people, that's, you know, their eyes get all irritated. But in a homeopathic sense, when it's put in your body, in an inflammatory, I guess, what's the word, aspect of the herb makes your body respond with an anti-inflammatory response. So if you have arthritis, if you have inflammation of your stomach lining, anything this is telling your body, this is signaling to your body, calm things down. We put something in you that's going to increase inflammation, and now we're telling your body to calm things down. So the infinite wisdom of your body then calms your arthritis and all these other things. This is signaling you to then help your body more with the inflammation in your body, like arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Those are messages from your body for maybe underlying, hey, we're hemorrhaging out here. We're getting irritated, joint pain, those sort of things. It has to do with your flexibility in life, how rigid you're being. And the cayenne energy is saying, hey, let's calm this down a little bit. Let's think about this. So that's going to be helpful this weekend, next coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get calm, look at where you're hemorrhaging out, and soothe yourself a little bit. And it's going to give you the energy to do the things you need to do. Okay, so then the energy of the week. 10 of Wands. Prickly ash bark. I will have to say, I don't think I have pulled this card in a very long time. 10 of Wands. Wands being some fire energy. So we had a little bit of water energy, some major arcana, and some fire. What happens when you add fire to water? Well, the water can put it out, or the fire can make it come to a bubble. 10 of Wands. Bubble, a boil. Hello. 10 of Wands. Prickly ash bark. Hey, guess what? Saturn and Sagittarius. That's ruled by the 10 of Wands. Okay? The full bundle of 10 Wands are carried as a burden on the back of the Voyager. The sense is of being overwhelmed, oppressed, and weighed down by various cares and concerns. This is representing all the things you don't need that this week is asking you to re-examine, restructure, and get rid of. You know, all the little favors you're doing for others, maybe you not getting up an extra half hour is creating that stress for you, rushing around in the morning. So this is saying, this represents that extra half hour or the lack of the extra half hour in the morning that's causing oppression or stress for you. This represents you to examine all the things that are causing problems or not working in your life right now that you need to adjust and create structure around remedies for. So while there's less opportunity for distractions and diversions, there is an obvious opportunity for organizing and gaining clearer focus and vision. You can't make this up, okay? It's time to organize your life better, okay? Adhering to priorities can generate focused energy that will bring the reward of important personal breakthroughs. Saturn rules your sense of responsibility. If you have a responsibility that feels particularly burdensome, how can you make it easier for you? And also, if you're not tending to your responsibilities, tending to them will ease your burdens. Here's an example. When you have greater internal authority, you will need less external authority. I don't know why I had this silly analogy of like, if you're not paying your student loans, then the student loan people will come at you, but it's your responsibility to pay back your debts. So start paying your debts. Even if it's like $5 a month, you're still attending to it. You're still putting intention towards your responsibilities that felt like a huge burden. Like imagine the weight of bills owed and you're not tending to them. This is sort of that energy it's talking about. Like, or I know I need to take care of this certain thing and I'm not doing it. Like my health, I'm not, you know, I'm still eating crap I shouldn't be eating and I'm suffering for it. This is that energy. It's telling you, okay, time to clean it up, time to clean it up. So adhering to priorities can generate, I already read that, sorry. Take the opportunity to become organized in all aspects of your being. Clarify your goals. Make sure you allow others to take on their responsibilities as well. What did I say earlier? Like, don't do the work for other people. Let them own their own crap, their own emotions. Don't feel things for them. Don't overfunction for them. Don't be codependent with somebody. Codependency is like insidious. We think we're being helpful or we want to feel needed, but in the end, you got to let your kid move on and learn how to tie his own shoes and make his way to school on his own without you holding his hand. This is allowing the other person to do what they need to do to self-actualize, okay? There's no need for you to take on other people's loads. A lot can be accomplished when this energy is handled properly. You know, I feel like it's just spot on. This is spot on, okay? Prickly ash bark will relieve feelings of oppression and burden. If you're feeling particularly burdened and you don't know which end is up, find the area where you're hemorrhaging out energy the most and tend to that first, okay? If that is in reacting to other people's drama and stress or a specific incident that's just weighing heavily on you, let it go for now. Just trust Spirit's going to take care of it, and you don't have to worry about that because you're giving up too much energy to worry about something that you can't necessarily have control over. So there's no need for or virtue in chewing and digesting someone else's experiences and lessons. It will be seen that it is better to allow others to face their own karma and responsibility while you remain in detached compassion. Didn't I say that? Yes. Sit back, allow people to do their work, okay? That's actually a very loving action. You know, jumping in and rescuing, isn't loving. It's on that triangle of disempowerment, being a rescuer, the perpetrator, the victim. Get off of the triangle altogether, okay? The herbal essence is taken in the talisman of dried herbs is worn to relieve negative feelings of oppression and burden. Perfect sachet. I could make a sachet for y'all, but I want to make sure it's like, I'd have to order it at this point. But so I'm still thinking through making sachets. Are they relevant? They're still relevant. Everything we're going through right now is going to, you know, move forward even into next week and the week after and maybe months from now. So use this affirmation. I willingly take on my responsibilities and allow others to take on theirs as well. So boundaries, structure, stating your requirements, not over-functioning for others. These, when you put all these in place, it makes life so much easier for you. Okay, that concludes the group card reading. And let me see if any other... Oh, yay. All right. Hi, Michelle. I'm just seeing you now. Let me know if you want a card. Okay, I'm going to set these aside. And I will shuffle the animal cards. I'm going to draw the one for Rusty, and then I'll do all the oracle ones next. Okay. Shuffle this 3 times. All right. I'll leave that one for Rusty. And now let me shuffle the oracle cards and I'll set out the rest. I'm really, really enjoying these oracle cards, by the way. They give you a lot of information in just one card. And they're beautiful. Love the artwork on them. And we thank all of the plant medicine and the animal energy and all of our spirit guides and the lineages of our council of elders that are watching over us, our well ancestors, everybody who's contributing to this wisdom that we're receiving right now. We thank you for your guidance, which is always of the light. Thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, I've been doing a bit of research on the Cathars and Mary Magdalene and all that, and more to come on that. I don't even know why I felt the need to explain that to you, but somebody wanted to know that. Oops. I got a little interrupted there. I'm going to shuffle one more time. Also, just as we're shifting into this new paradigm, pay attention to what you're watching. Stay in a state of observation and look at what is not being spoken of. I had to kind of, I don't know why I'm being called to say this. This is for Karen, this card. This one is for Chris. Kimberly. Just be discerning consumers of the information that is given to you or provided to you, and dig for more, okay? The occult, what's the occult? Hidden knowledge, right? So think about what are you being shown and what is being hidden from you. I feel so esoteric saying that. 1, 2, 3. And if you feel called to watch the Da Vinci Code again, learn about the Illuminati. Hey, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Interesting that I felt the need to tell you all that right now. I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay. Rusty the Crow. Oh, yes. I love crow medicine. Fantastic. Okay. Let's see. Did anybody else feel inclined to sing that song Blackbird by the Beatles? Okay. I love that song. Think of crow medicine. 133. And any blackbird, frankly, raven, grackles. Grackles are like rampant here in Texas. Quite the little, they're like the coyotes of the bird species. They're very mischievous tricksters. But crow medicine, are you calling so I may know the secrets of balance within my soul? Or are you sending your sacred caw just to remind me of universal laws? So again, all about balance, boundaries, structure, and laws, you know, like Saturn rules the laws of the universe. Crow, all about the law. There is a medicine story that tells of Crow's fascination with her own shadow. She kept looking at it, scratching it, pecking at it, until her shadow woke up and became alive. Then Crow's shadow ate her. Crow is dead Crow now. Dead Crow is the left-handed guardian. If you look deeply into Crow's eye, you will have found the gateway to the supernatural. Crow knows the unknowable mysteries of creation and is the keeper of all sacred law. There's something here saying maybe some stuff is happening that you know is going against your own personal ethics. Just pay attention to that, okay? Since Crow is the keeper of sacred law, and something came over me. Whatever you do, you're going to be protected if you make choices of your highest good and of the highest good. Crow can bend the laws of the physical universe and shapeshift. This ability is rare and unique. Few adepts exist in today's world, and fewer still have mastered Crow's art of shapeshifting. This art includes doubling or being in two places at one time consciously, taking on another physical form and becoming the fly on the wall, or a familiar, to observe what is happening far away. Any of you guys watch Game of Thrones? The Raven, they call him the Raven, or like the Oracle in the Matrix. I'm trying to use some popular culture here. You can be the fly on the wall. Like, what is it called? The term where you can see, you're a seer in other worlds, like you're here now, but you can look and see, you're flying through the forest in Austria or something. The Europeans that came to Turtle Island were named the Boat People by Slow Turtle. Even with the knowledge of alchemy possessed by certain boat people, none had ever seen the powerful shape-shifting of shamans who utilized crow medicine. Many boat people were frightened by what appeared to be animals coming into their camps or dwelling to discern their medicine. Crow medicine people are masters of illusion. All sacred texts are under the protection of Crow. Creator's Book of Laws and Book of Seals is bound in crow's feathers. Okay, so I talked about Mary Magdalene. Okay, this is why. Okay, there's lots of structure. Okay, Saturn is all about government law, big, huge agencies and bureaucracy, like, let's say, the Christian Catholic Church, banking industry. Like, this is the time when lots of things are being revealed that, okay, this is sad. I just read this really disturbing article about the St. Joseph's orphanage run by Catholic nuns in Vermont back in like the 1930s, where they murdered several children. And now they're being held accountable. Saturn return. Well, Saturn is in Capricorn. This is a time when things like huge entities like the Catholic Church are being held accountable for things. But also where we're seeing things that we thought were true and were being told were true may not be exactly the way they were. Our history, you know, we tend to look at our history as being the truth, but it might just be that we were told something that may not be true. So Crow's kind of asking you to use some discernment. Look underneath for the truth, okay? So all sacred texts are under the protection of Crow, creators of laws and books of seals, inbound, and crow's feathers. When I think about the Bible, there are certain canonical texts that they did not add into the Bible, and that they say, you know, by conscious choice of the church, they determine tribunals which gospels are allowed into the Bible. So when they say, oh, well, you're saying that as if it were gospel. Well, now we're at a time in our society, culture, existence where we say what we thought was gospel may have been a conscious choice of information that was brought to our attention. So we can get into the Illuminati and all that and the media and whatever. And this is just asking you to be discerning about what information you receive as truth. Especially when it comes to things that are of the law and sacred texts, and what do they really mean, like the Ark of the Covenant and things like that. Okay. Crow is also the protector of the Oglala, or ancient records. Think Akashic records. There's things that are in existence that people don't want to know are in existence, but they are still recorded somehow. Things that are trying to be oppressed or silenced, those are the things that are coming forth. And so Crow energy is very important here. And I don't know why we're hearing this for you, Rusty, but this is, I hope this means something to you. Okay, the sacred law belts, or wampum belts, beaded by native women, long before the Bolt people or Europeans came to this continent, contain knowledge of the Great Spirit's laws and are kept in the black lodges, the lodges of women. Okay, another thing, women, things like the red tent, esoteric knowledge, hidden knowledge, it's coming out, okay? And there's keepers of this knowledge that are coming out that were previously silenced, okay? So there's something important here for you, and maybe everybody else who's listening. The law which states that all things are born of women is signified by Crow. Children are taught to behave according to the rules of particular culture. Most orthodox religious systems create a mandate concerning acceptable behavior within the context of worldly affairs. Again, nowhere else, I think, is a better example than how Mary Magdalene was perceived in the Bible. She started it out as actually a very wealthy woman, and then she was later her image, her PR, her public relations by the church redirected her as maybe an insane woman who had 7 demons to be driven out, and then maybe a prostitute, which they later negated. So for some reason, there's a reason to control or oppress something that may be powerful going on. I don't know. I don't understand necessarily context here for you, Rusty, but I'm just saying it. Okay, do this and so, and you will go to heaven. Do thus and so, and you will go to hell. Different formulas for salvation are demanded by each true faith. I think this is saying be really super mindful of, like, do you feel like, okay, here's an example. The Catholic Church definitely doesn't think card reading is it's sorcery, and a form of divination is against you know, the church and whatever. But those of us who are here know there's definitely wisdom, and there's a reason for the oppression. I don't even know why Crow is speaking of this. Human law is not the same as sacred law. I think that's the crux of this. This is what Crow is saying. Human law is not the same as sacred law, okay? We may have, like, you know, women being burned at the stake as witches, or, you know, the crucible and all that, but the human law of what we think we should do is not what spiritual law is saying, okay? And so Saturn, this Saturn retrograde, Saturn return, is asking us to examine our laws. Like, what law are you following? Human law or sacred law, okay? So more so than any other medicine, Crow sees that the physical world and even the spiritual world, as humanity interprets them, are an illusion. They're, okay, because, like, If you asked our relatives, our ancestors from, 6,000 years ago, the Great Mother ruled the earth. The great women were the source of all life. And now, 2,000 years ago, we were taught in the Piscean age that man is the source of woman. Woman came out of the rib of man. And so which one's the truth? Okay. But it's all about the lens through which wisdom and sacred law is coming through. There are billions of worlds. There are an infinitude of creatures. Great Spirit is within all. So I think sacred law is saying there's no right or wrong, I guess. It's the filter through which you're seeing it. If an individual obeys Crow's perfect laws as given by the Creator, then at death, he or she dies a good medicine death, going on to the next incarnation with a clear memory of his or her past. Crow is an omen of change. Crow lives in the void and has no sense of time. The ancient chiefs tell us that Crow sees simultaneously the three fates, past, present, and future. So it's time for you to be looking at your past, what's going on now, and where you want to go. Crow merges light and darkness, seeing both inner and outer reality. If Crow medicine appears in your card spread, you must pause and reflect on how you see the laws of the Great Spirit in relation to the laws of humanity. Is what you're seeing really right for you? And if it's not, you don't have to buy into it. You may keep your peace. You may not have to say anything about it, but you're just observing at this point. Crow medicine signifies a first-hand knowledge of a higher order of right and wrong than that indicated by the laws created in human culture. With Crow medicine, you speak in a powerful voice when addressing issues that for you seem out of harmony, out of balance, out of whack, or unjust. So if you got to set some boundaries and you got to say, this isn't working for me, this isn't right for me, Crow medicine is going to help you with that, okay? Remember that Crow looks at the world with first one eye and then the other, cross-eyed. In the Mayan culture, cross-eyed had the privilege and duty of looking into the future. You must put aside your fear of being a voice in the wilderness and call the shots as you see them. As you learn to allow your personal integrity to be your guide, your sense of feeling alone will vanish. People will start following you because you're strong and you know who you are. Okay, your personal will can then emerge so that you will stand in your truth. The prime path of true Crow people says to be mindful of your opinions and actions. Be willing to walk your talk, speak your truth, know your life's mission, and balance past, present, and future in the now. Shapeshift that old reality and become your future self. Allow the bending of physical laws to aid in creating the shape-shifted world of peace. That was a good one, Rusty. I like that. Okay. So let's pull this oracle card is going to be for Karen. Let me get my little note here. I love these oracle cards. Okay. Ooh. I actually pulled this card for myself the other day. Completion. Okay. So the way these mystical shaman cards work is if you get them upright, you talk about the essence of the card, and then the card itself will invite you to take certain action. Okay. So for this week, all things have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. This is the nature of life, the seed, the flower, and the fruit, and of all human relationships. Completion suggests the fullness of the amount, or the moment, hello, and the need to transform an old form into a new form. Okay, so as it relates to us in structure for the week, it may be an end of an era for you. You may not need to worry about certain things anymore, and it might be time to end one thing. I don't know if maybe you have, I'm thinking like, you may not know what to do with yourself now that certain things have ended, and this is just a way to honor that you completed something, and now it's time to think about what new structures you need to put into place. So the invitation is, if you've finished a cycle, and there's no more growth or benefit from hanging on to the old. So it's time to restructure yourself. Where do you need to go for growth, for greater growth? In regard to relationships, it's time to honor what has been and find a new form for the future. I don't take this to mean that the relationship ends. I take it to mean that the way you're relating to that person ends. So I don't know how relevant this is, but like maybe your child graduated from high school and now you're not relating to him as a child, you're relating to him as a young adult, and the relationship takes place and it differs, and it's a new structure for you guys. You know, maybe they're off at college and you know, you don't have to tend to their lunches and, you know, driving them to school every day. It's a new structure for you. So, but that there may be a little feeling of loss, like all things must come to an end, or maybe you're feeling elated, like, yay, this responsibility is over. But in your ventures, it's time to reap your harvest. So, you know, be proud of yourself from how far you've come and what you've accomplished and what you've done, and maybe just, it says completion is a time for celebration. Maybe light a candle, take yourself out to dinner, do something like, this is the new time for me to do me, okay? It is the end of summer when the fruit is ripe. How perfect for this time of year, right? Okay, time to reap the harvest of all of the seeds that you've sown, okay? Time to celebrate, it's time to complete. Take the time to give yourself this closure, okay? Whatever it is, you know what it is. All right, that's for Karen. And then the next is for Chris. Ooh. Let's see. Whew. The coyote. Let's see. The coyote is a symbol of the sacred trickster, the one who provides detours for growth and understanding by ensuring that things don't go as planned. This week, when you're formulating your structure, and we're talking about this, if things don't go as planned, it might be time to reassess. Don't force things. Just pull back, reassess. Is this okay? I might have had these grand plans for this, you know, fall, but like things aren't working out, and in the end, maybe this wasn't the grand plan for me. Okay, it may feel like aggravating, annoying, whatever, but it's all for your highest good. Okay, the coyote brings the energy of divine deception to set you free from the shackles of that which doesn't serve you. Okay, I thought it would be a great idea for me to quit my job and do coaching full-time. That sounded great on the surface, but that wasn't the plan for me. God had other plans for me. And now I know much better. I have a Capricorn rising, and I absolutely need some kind of daily structure and maybe some steady income in order for me to have the structure to do this work. This is what it's saying. Like, maybe the plan you thought that you needed or how things should look don't really translate to what you truly need, okay? So, like, really get honest with yourself. You know, the trickster will show up to show you what you really need. In the end, you're going to be just fine in the end, okay? Sometimes it appears that you'll get everything you want. Exactly, like, you know, me quitting my job. It was great, yay, but then it didn't turn out so well, okay? So, only to find that coyote brings you the opposite of what you hoped for, and then it turns out to be just fine, and actually exactly where you need to be, okay? The lessons offered by coyote may at first appear confusing, but they are most sacred and always for your highest good, okay? They're not doing it to harm you. There's a great saying in the Bible by Jeremiah: these things I give to you not to harm you, but to basically give you prosperity, okay? So in the end, if you're being detoured away from what you thought you wanted, it's not because you're being told, no, it's because there's something greater for you elsewhere. And I know it sounds cliche, but it almost always pans out and shows you the truth, okay? So the invitation is, if coyote calls to you, this is a time to pay special attention to detours and disappointment, as they are true tests of faith. what is the disappointment showing you? Did you feel relieved? Like, okay, good, I didn't have to do that after all. Did you feel like, no, I really want that, and I realize this is what I really, really, really want, and I'm going to put things in place that will eliminate anything interfering in it, okay? So you have set your intentions and turned them over to the Great Spirit, yet you may find yourself lost and confused when it appears you're being led off course. You know, you may be like, I don't know what, I thought I was going to do some writing or whatever, but now I just feel like walking in the woods. But when you're walking in the woods, you get the most practical, like shoot of inspiration, and you suddenly have this entire story to write. These are the things: follow your heart, follow your spirit. It may seem like it doesn't make sense and it's a detour, but it's leading you to what you really need to do or want to do. Okay, so you may find yourself lost and confused when it appears you're being led off the path leading to your most cherished dreams and desires. Remember this: Coyote is a sacred trickster and may be leading you into challenges to ensure that you are ready to handle what you've set in motion. I will give you an example. Me quitting my job. Like, I needed to resolve a whole bunch of stuff with my own childhood trauma story before I could go into sacred work, holding space for other people. This isn't, that little fumble doesn't mean that it's over, right? It's just a small detour. This is Coyote, but Coyote shows you those things. He shows you those lessons, and it's all for your greatest good. It's not to make things hard for you. It's not to, because you're bad, wrong, whatever, or you just aren't ever someone who wins. It's for your greatest good, okay? So great growth and understanding come to you when Coyote calls your name. So there's a lot here for you. Just pay attention, okay? All right. That was for Chris. And now Kimberly, we have, Pachamama, Mother Earth. Okay. Pachamama. Pachamama represents the unconditional love that the earth has for all her children, including the stones, the plants, the animals, and humans. She is the goddess of earth, also known as Gaia, who provides all creation in our planet. Thanks to Pachamama, our timeless soul can experience life in a biological body. The joy and pain we taste during our brief time on earth are invitations to discover the boundless love of Pachamama. This is saying a couple things. One, maybe you need to move a little closer to the earth and show this is walking closely to the earth, maybe getting into gardening, maybe spending more time outside, maybe earth conservation, that sort of thing, is, honoring Mother Earth. The other thing too that's coming to me is, I don't know if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, where they talk about, getting what you want. Everything's cyclical, but it's kind of like getting a massage, and, just because it was pleasant at one time, people don't understand the value of redoing something that's pleasant. So Pachamama is talking about our time here on earth and being grateful for all of the times that we have a chance to spend with our loved ones, with our, just the things that we take for granted, daily dinner with family or whatever, just these very earthbound things that as time moves on may not be there. So just be grateful for the daily earthly things that you get to appreciate, or look through the lens of appreciation more in this earthbound existence. So the invitation is, you're a child of the earth. Now's the time to eat right, love right, and be joyous, regardless of the circumstances you find yourself in. This is resonating with me as well. Start where you are. You're never going to get another opportunity from today, because all could change, in the next day or two. Just be grateful where you're at. Be joyous of the moment, and then be grateful for your life, your body, and all that nourishes you. Pachamama invites you to relish each breath, embrace your joy and your pain equally. Discover love through both. So this is, I think it's just really learning to appreciate your daily existence. And just like, because you may, you know, God forbid, you know, you lose somebody important, you look back on the daily existence and you think, I should have spent more time with that person. I should have done this or that. And before my grandmother passed in 2008, I felt that joyous energy, so that when she passed, I knew that every moment I spent with her, I took the opportunity to be present, to be making it of the most unconditional love at that time. So let Pachamama know how much you appreciate all of her blessings. Something like, I'm just blessed that I have like bottled water, clean water, and what a blessing that is, things that I'm taking for granted. You know, with an act of service, such as planting a tree, helping save an endangered species, or protecting the ocean. You know, even as simple as recycling, or setting up a recycling program at your work, or something like that. Something to pay it forward. So yeah, enjoy your daily existence. Walk closely, humbly to Mother Earth, and just enjoy it. So yeah, that's for Kimberly. And that may be all the things that this, you know, week you're structuring your new life around, or paying more attention to, adding into your daily existence. Maybe you can start a gratitude journal, or something like that, that just puts you in a greater state of appreciation for Mother Earth. And, you know. Okay, so the next one is for Bethany. The medicine wheel. Medicine wheel, beautiful artwork. Look at that. We got the eagle in the east, Brother Snake in the south, Brother Jaguar in the west. Oops. And then, oops, the little hummingbird. This camera is like a weird mirror. Oh, you see that little hummingbird? Beautiful artwork. Let's see. Okay, there we go. The medicine wheel is a sacred hoop with the 4 cardinal directions well marked. It represents the cycle of life, the cycle of nature, and the circular pattern of all our cosmos. It has been used for millennia in indigenous cultures to bring harmony and well-being to the village. Its directions symbolize the 4 steps the shaman takes to become a person of power and wisdom. I'm seeing this as a direct invitation to learn how to open sacred space, to begin this journey of personal power and wisdom. To manifest clear blue skies in your life, it is important that you take a look at certain aspects of your being. Enter the medicine wheel from the south. See the Kiro go from the south. And reflect on how you are still clinging to events from the past. Continue to the west and notice with relationships are toxic and drain your energy. All about structure of your life, right? And boundaries. And step into the north and ask yourself, do I know my passion and show it? End at the east direction, visualizing how you want to live the next chapter of your life. It is up to you how much time you spend in each direction. Minutes, days, or months. But when you're done, make sure to step outside the wheel and complete your journey. Yay. I would say definitely take a look at each direction, calling in each direction, and what does it mean to you? What does earth energy mean to you? What is air energy, water energy, fire energy? What is that? How's that manifesting in your life? How can you use that to structure your daily life? And I would say, again, it just feels a lot like asking you to open up sacred daily space and examine where you can restructure your life right now. And use the medicine wheel as helping you. So, and as it says, step outside the wheel and contemplate your journey. That means, like, don't let it all be all in your head. Take some decisive action. So it seems pretty cut and dried. There you go. And take one more sip of water. And then we have one more for Penny. Ooh, many paths. There we go, many paths. Okay. All paths lead to spirit. What you bring to your journey is what will determine if your path is a path of suffering, a path of wisdom, a path of bliss, or a path of loss. So again, as it relates to this week and determining our structure, how you are designing your life, is it going to bring you what you want? And if it's bringing you what you don't want, definitely time to restructure your path. Consider the traveler who met two stonemasons. He asks one, what is he doing? And the mason replies, I'm squaring out this stone. He asks the other, who's doing the exact same thing, and gets the reply, I am building a cathedral. Yes. So what are your goals? What are your long-term goals? Are what you're doing right now today going to bring you to that cathedral later in life? So instead of tending to a stone, you have a greater vision of what you're really actually doing. The actions that you're taking now are moving you towards a greater vision. And you may need to re-examine what your greater vision was. And like in the past, your vision was for XYZ, and now it's for MNLOP. You know, you realize that I don't necessarily want what I thought I wanted. So one man has a job, the other man has found his work and calling. And from what I know of you, Penny, I think you're definitely in your work and calling. Where do you want to go further with it? He is part of an endeavor much greater than himself. And I could say that for sure. Be sure you pick a path with heart. Where's your heart leading you right now further down the path? So your call now is to take a big, bold step and leave the beaten path. Heaven and earth are considering on your behalf to support you in this move. Do not dally lest you miss the moment. Like, really, now's the time. Like, when you're feeling that inspiration, like, okay, now I'm going to jump into this aspect of, I'm really feeling called to do this or speak about this or whatever, and it doesn't make sense, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's what my heart's telling me to do. Spirit's guiding me. It's inspired action. It's time to sail into the uncharted, you know, maybe something you've never done before and seems kind of like out of alignment with maybe, or off-brand or whatever, but it may lead you to like greater fulfillment and for yourself and for others. And then be sure to attend to both your path through this earth as well as your journey through the stars. So what I'm taking that to mean is, are the things that you're doing now on earth leading you to greater soul ascension and evolution? And sometimes we're here on earth to just enjoy earthly pleasures, like eat some good food, hug a friend, you know, enjoy things you can do here and now in the physical world, and not just be like all airy-fairy out in the stars and abstract and whatnot, but just be mindful of our actions in this daily world. Are they moving us down our soul journey path? So good card. That was for Penny. All right. Well, friends, that concludes the card reading for today. I'm like so excited. This was like a lot of fun, a lot of information. I just want to give you all a few announcements before we head out, and won't take long, okay? One, I'm going to be offering like custom card readings. One of them, my dear cousin gave me the structure for. I wrote some notes here. It's called the Ancestor Tarot Reading, and basically helping you get in touch with your ancestors. I'm still doing some work on ancestral medicine. I'm hoping to take a course with Dr. Daniel Four in December on how to hold space and work with our ancestors. And I think that this card reading will do excellently. But however, if you just want your own personal card reading for whatever, the fall or for the year, or you just want a single card pull and you want to be able to interact with me, we can, I do the card readings on Zoom, and you can ask me a specific question and I'll pull as many cards as you need. So 15 minutes, $15 for 15 minutes, and then $1 for every minute after. You'll need to email me right now at Christina@wolfmastery.com if you want to request a reading. I'm hoping to have I'm putting my email address in here. So if you email me and you say you want a card reading, I can send you the PayPal link, and we can, let me check and see if I missed any other comments, because this thing is rolling. Oh, good. All right. So much truth. Yes. All right. You're welcome, Rusty. Yes, I like that song by the Beatles. You're welcome, Karen. Yes, and Chris, even though you got the Oracle card, you still got an animal card anyway. They wanted to talk to you, animal medicine. And then, oh, hello, Mary. Welcome. Oh, you're welcome, Kimberly. Yes, I love these cards. They're just gorgeous. Oh, Kimberly, you're awesome. Thank you. Oh, Kim, that's beautiful. Thank you. Chris, you're awesome. Oh, you guys are so welcome. And Penny, I'm so happy you joined. I haven't talked to you in forever. We'll have to catch up. Yay. Okay. Thank you for the messages. You guys are lovely. I'm so happy you guys are here with me. So there's my email. If you want like a more involved personal reading, you can even gift one to somebody else. Let me know and we'll make arrangements. I start out 15 minutes that way because I think that's adequate for at least a single card pull. That you can specifically ask me like what you have a question about. But you know, and then for every minute after, then it's $1. It's not that hard. Then the other announcements are, again, I made my very first herbal sachet yesterday out of a little bit of colored felt, and the colors equate to the need. I picked orange for a legal matter, and the herb that I used was buckthorn bark, and that was for also the legal matter. So you enchant the herb, you put it in a little sachet, and then you carry it on you, similar to how the herbal deck is telling you to carry the herb close on your person to use the plant medicine. The little ones are like, seriously, like maybe this big. I don't know if that makes sense. Like 1.5 inches maybe each, by 1.5 inches. And then the big one is like maybe like the size of this, maybe 2/3 of this card. So the little ones, I'll probably just charge like $5. That'll cover the herb and the materials and the shipping. And then 10, just because the big one fills up quite a bit of herb. It's up to you. You can use them for like 90 days. Usually after 90 days, the herb gets a little stale and it might be time for a new one. So I'm going to be probably offering those as well. And if you have a specific herb that's calling to you, or if you want to blend or a specific purpose, like, hey, I'm having a lot of trouble in my relationship right now. Can you create a blend for me? And I'll just hold my intentions for my relationship or something like that. We can use plant medicine that way. Lastly, I had started a project in the spring called Discovering the Empowered Self. It was all about moving from, trying to recover from early childhood trauma. It was directly related to my own recovery process. I'm 41, I'll be 42 in a couple months. And I did a lot of research on the effects that unresolved early childhood trauma have on your health, how you view your identity. And I wanted to create a platform that raised awareness for the need for recovery from early childhood trauma, and then also different healing modalities. I am an advocate for children who have experienced, abuse, sexual abuse, victims of crime, that sort of thing. And there's going to be a link on each of the events, because it's going to be a weekly event on Facebook, my Facebook business page. I'm going to go live on there, and then there will be a link to the YouTube video, so that way I can share it, you can share it with many people. And I really wanted to do that. Historically, telesummits are something you do to create subscribers to your email list, and I don't necessarily want to go in that direction right now, but I wanted to honor the people who made the interviews with me and share their work with the world, because I think it's a really important topic, and I think that these people are doing amazing things. And that series, weekly series, I will be featuring a speaker and an interview, I think starting on probably the third Wednesday in September, possibly the last week in September. I haven't organized it quite yet with all the speakers, but the interviews are done and ready to go, and I wanted to be able to feature each interview and each speaker that week. So as I was alluding to, though, I'm going to feature a link on each one of these Facebook events for Child Safe. It's a victim advocacy organization here in San Antonio that the Sheriff's Office and Child Protective Services works very closely with. We actually have 3 investigators who provide forensic interviews for children who have been victims of crime, so that they don't have to testify, and it doesn't traumatize the children when they're in court. Like a really phenomenal agency. And so I'll be just putting a link on each of the weekly interviews to donate to them, so that if you feel inclined to do so, you can. So anyway, that's what's coming up for me. I've got like a whole bunch of other things going on. I will be continuing some shaman training with my mentor, Olga Laura. You can find her at Olga Laura Dancing Feather. She's actually the one that made these sprays here, these essential oil sprays for me, these smudges. I'll be doing that. And of course, I've got my SWAT training that, my empowerment coaching training that I'm still needing to finish. It's time to tie up loose ends. This fall is all about, and Saturn return is all about tying up loose ends, owning your responsibilities. If you started something, finish it. This is what it's all about. So those are my announcements for now. Thanks to everybody who's, stuck around and, listened in. I appreciate you all and love you. Bye for now.